Okay, well, we're back at it again today. I've been off for a few days. I did a couple of things on the El Camino. I made a baffle for the PCV valve and stuffed that in there. And what else did I do? I fixed the leaking recovery tank from my radiator, which I ran over maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago. And I had welded it with plastic and it started to crack again, so I kind of did the same thing and then smeared some JB weld over it. And I have a guy who lives in California who I think is going to get me one. So that's it for the El Camino. I'm going to pull the door handles off. It's going into storage on Sunday. Today is Friday. So I worked around a little bit in the garage and took the tarp off the Corvair and got the Corvair in here. And in the next few days we'll officially be starting. And let me show you what I got to work with. So here's the Corvair. I have a complete parts car sitting in the driveway. This thing needed a hood, and for the most part it's in decent shape. It came out of Nevada. I got it from a friend of mine. Well, I got it from a friend of mine who got it from a friend of his, and then we all became friends. And now, oddly, he's moved back to Nevada, and he took a bunch of cars and he left this one behind, and he was trying to sell it. I didn't really want it, but I have a thing for 66-year cars, considering I was born in 66. So I took this in and I asked my daughter if she would drive it, and at the time I think she was 5 or 6, and she was all really excited about it. And she still, to some degree, is wanting to drive it when it's done, but she keeps telling me that don't worry about finishing it by the time she's 16, because she can drive the El Camino. So I had the underneath media blasted with dustless and the interior of the car. So a couple years ago, when I decided to put this outside, when I started to work on the El Camino, I did the floors and underbody and shot some paint on them. And the thing about the dustless media is I had this thing upside down, rinsed it about a bazillion times, cleaned it and painted it. And as you can see, there's residue from the media blasting. From where, I don't know. I'm guessing in the doors, up underneath there somewhere. But I don't know how else better I can clean this. I mean, I blew air in this thing, and you can just see there's a ton of that stuff everywhere. So that's what I got to work with. But ultimately, I'm pretty happy because I can go through and clean up the inside of this. I've got to spray some neutralizer on there, and I can get the inside pretty much scuffed up, primed up, and ready to get paint, because as you can tell, it's going to be the same color as the car. I'm going to pull the dash out, strip this thing all the way down. I've got a lot of things I want to do. The body's not in too bad a shape. Typical rust spots, around the window. I'll be pulling the glass out, and my original plan was to finish up underneath and get it painted and get the cross member back under there, and then build some sort of a frame so that I can roll this. But I think I'm going to leave it on the rotisserie as long as I can. I got plenty to do. I'm hoping this goes a lot quicker than the El Camino, since all that I didn't know what I was doing, I know a little bit more on how to get through some of the things that I'm going to be doing. So that basic body work will go a lot quicker. I'm looking forward to learning a ton more on what to do. And then ultimately I want to have this thing back together in about 2.5 or 3 years. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to try to maintain a pretty strict cadence on getting this done by trying to get out here a couple times a week. But we'll see how that goes. You know, there's a lot of stuff that comes up, and that's probably the biggest lesson that I learned on the El Camino, considering that I thought something was going to take a week and it took like 18 months. So that's what I got. We're going to start soon. I got some cleanup in the yard to do, and we're officially underway on the Corvair. All right, so I started to take the windshield trim off, and I'm using a small screwdriver to kind of pry up on the trim, and a pick, which is how I was able to get the trim off the windshield on the El Camino. But as I started to find out, the clips were rusted, and through that process they kind of were stuck to the trim, which was making it a bit of a nightmare. So I ordered a new tool, and once that came, I was able to pop the rest of the trim off relatively easy. But there's a ton of videos out on YouTube on how to do this, so if you take a look or search that up, it'll be a lot better presentation on how to do it than I could provide. So here's just some footage of me just before I gave up and decided to buy that new tool. Alright, so I'm going to be removing some of the trim on the car. Just starting to get things rolling with this. I need to pull off any emblems or trim mounts, door locks. We'll be pulling the glass out of here. I definitely want to break this thing down to be just the shell. And just kind of watch, go through things as we go. It was recommended to use a can opener to get this trim off, since what you got to do is press down. There's a little machining under here, and this is a press fit, and it grabs onto this. So you grab the molding just like you would your pop can. You start pulling it off. just kind of twists off. That's it. So I might just, when this goes back together, omit this chrome or stainless molding, kind of like the rail color matched, because my overall thought with this car is to kind of have it clean on the body lines and delete some of the trim and have it more of just its solid color. My daughter does want it blue, and as far as the shade goes, it's going to be probably a dark metallic blue, just like you see here, but freshened up. So we'll see along the way how that turns out, but I'm going to keep going with removing the trim and start assessing where I'm going to start with the body. I do need to get out the glass and, you know, just kind of clean up all the things that are going to be in my way. We're going to take it down to bare metal and go from there. I took advantage of the weather and rolled the car out. Here I'm taking apart the inside guts of the door, be pulling the glass and the emblems on the passenger side. All right, so we got the passenger side glass and door handle lock and emblems off. I got the trim off, and I'm going to be doing the other side. I'm going to continue stripping the emblems off the trunk and getting the molding off of the back, and I think that's where I'm going to leave this. And we're going to call this a win for the day, and hopefully I can start dropping these videos quicker and move this thing along. So that said, thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.